Well, we're here today with Peter Hoogduin, a karate or actually a martial art teacher within a martial arts studio in Fremont, California. Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Peter, did I describe martial art teacher and studio correct? Because I know you're doing something which is slightly different, something I cannot even pronounce. So if you pronounce it for us, that would be great. And if you tell us a little bit, what is it and what's kind of the difference between normal karate or any taekwondo, any of that type of thing? What's the difference?
Well, first it's called Wushu, and it's a Chinese martial arts. And I think the main difference is that in most of the martial arts, there's a lot of emphasis on fighting or self-defense, and in Wushu, there's more, emphasis on performing and helps, let's say improving people's posture and, preparing them to be able to be very creative with their art. And, it's more of a, a mental exercise where, you really have to align your mind with your body. Right? Okay. So in other words, like, each time you move, your thoughts should be, faster than your body can move.
All right. So basically, coordination and so you need to train. Obviously, I think in normal karate or in just about anything, you do need to train your mind a little bit. But so what you're saying is a little more of that rather than just fast and wild kick. It's like art, it's like ballet dancing, it's like Vienna waltz or Argentina tango, where I assume, however, it's still more active. So does a person get, the mind is great and it's absolutely wonderful, I love that part personally, but does a person still get a good workout with this because of when he does that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think in China they did a study once, and one routine of doing an advanced Wushu routine is equivalent of output of energy of running 5 miles in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Wow.
That's how much energy you put out. It's almost like an impossible thing to conceive because you can't run that fast, but at the end of one routine, it feels like it's a 1 minute, 30 seconds routine, and you feel like you just had a 2-hour workout. So it's very intense when you get to the advanced levels, and you're not going to be able to pull off like 20 of those things.
Right. And I've heard somewhere, and I don't know whether you can confirm that or not, but I've heard somewhere that there are some studies out there that when you exercise intense for a minute or two, that actually in terms of like preventing heart attack and stuff, that is better if you can do it at all, and if you train yourself up to that level, that is better than doing a 2-hour crisp walk, which, not that a 2-hour crisp walk isn't a lot better than watching television for 2 hours, but because, within seconds you get the heart going boom. And when you have a heart attack or an oncoming heart attack, that's what's happening. The heart gets like, it needs within split second, it needs like go and push through and do something. And if it's not used to that, it just won't do it. And so that, I don't know, have you heard that theory that like getting your heart rate going within seconds is enormously healthy?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Personally, I believe that, with different levels of fitness, right, there's different approaches. Like, if somebody came to me and they were in great shape and they were beginners at Wushu, I would push them a lot harder than, let's say, if somebody came in and they hadn't exercised for 20 years.
Well, of course.
Yeah, gradual, but you always, in any kind of exercise, you start with a pretty intensive warm-up where you start running or something and you get pretty intensive where the heartbeat really goes up, because that gets the blood flow running, and it's not just healthy, but it also prevents injuries because there's a lot of blood flow going to all the parts of the body, and you could then start like stretching and kicking more intensive.
Yeah, you said something about posture, and And before, when we talked, you said something that, like, let's just say a really strong fighter who trains well for fighting, he will look muscular, and he'll be another Arnold Schwarzenegger, my little brother, by the way. So he'll look like this now. And you said that with your teaching of Wushu, do I pronounce that right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, you look more graceful. So that must be appealing to a fair amount of guys, and definitely to lots of girls who, like, they want to be strong, they want to be fit, but they don't necessarily want to look like a bodybuilder. Am I way off here or what?
No, I think you are correct. Wushu, we definitely, with our training, I mean, you do strength training as well, but we don't have the purpose of making you bigger. Like, if you think of a punch, right? If your arm is bigger with more mass, and then if you can then use that by relaxing enough your shoulder, you can get more power just because of the mass of it, right? But in Wushu, you want to, there's a lot of circular arm rotational movements, and you want to make it look very graceful. And when you have arms like Arnold, you're not going to make it look graceful. That's just not doable.
Right. Makes sense. So, and as people advance in this theory from, so you have belts like just about any other martial art, wide up to whatever. So as people advance, do they have any choice in since it's art? And, like, for instance, my wife is dancing tango, and, she follows apparently some basic steps, but then how she arranges those steps is up to her. And that's how people become world champions or not, because people like the arrangement or don't like the arrangement. But, only an expert can see that they're still following the very same basic principle of steps. Is that a little bit with Wushu the same?
Yes, absolutely. So in Wushu, all the beginners and intermediate students, they learn pretty much standardized routines, where you learn all the proper ways of punching and the basic movements and stuff and kicking. And then when you get to the more advanced levels, that's indeed what you do. You take the whole of the movements, and you basically construct your own form based on, the things you're good at. And there are certain requirements and certain things everybody has to do, and then there's certain things that you could choose to use or not use. And so basically it becomes almost like an art created by you. And, you have, like, let's say, 15 different jumps to choose from, and you need to choose 5 of them which you are good at. And then you have to have certain required balance poses and stuff like that. And let's say if you do a sword routine, there are certain sword moves which are required, and you have to do them. And there's other ones you could choose to use, but let's say if that's not your strong point, you need to use something else.
Okay.
So it becomes very artistic, like a painter, Right. You're trying to create some kind of an effect on the audience or the judges of the tournament.
Good. Well, wonderful. Peter, thanks for filling us in. That is giving at least me some insight, and I'm sure it will give the viewer of this video some insight also. And to just, basically, it's a martial art. You learn how to kick, you do those things, but the emphasis is not on striking necessarily somebody down, even though you probably are in having some advantage, over the everyday little guy who tries to snitch your purse. But the emphasis is on art, on creation, training your mind and body all together, and being relaxed, spiritual, and just kind of like, being very good shape, and at the same time be very creative, not just pumping iron at the treadmill. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for your candidness. We'll speak to you more about some other stuff. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.